You simply insert your card, punch in your PIN, and withdraw your cash. However, this simple process can open up you and your finances to some dangers. So it is very important that you proceed with caution when using the ATM and never share your PIN. When approaching the ATM, it is very important that you have your card ready, either in your hand or in your pocket, so that you do not waste time going through your belongings, either your wallet or your handbag, as this will give opportunities for thieves to act. Thirdly, put your money away immediately. Don't give anyone an opportunity to grab your cash or your card after a withdrawal. Lastly, always take your receipt after each and every transaction. It is important that you get your slip after every transaction because it contains crucial information about your balances, and that may lead you to be a victim of bolandela. Be cyber aware, be cyber smart.
While everything else is going up, we at Spar have found great prices that go down, and down, and down. With our Spar products Best for Less sale. Get 2-litre Spar Extra Shelf Life Milk at an incredible $28.99 and 1 kg Spar Daily Spread Tub, now just $24.99. The Spar products Best for Less sale, now on.
It was rather than a dominating weekend for two biggest sporting associations in the country. I'm talking about swimming and boxing, hosting their 2022 national championships over the weekend. We'll look at what unfolded with, of course, the Minister for Sports, Haris Pulunga, managing to visit those two associations and see how things were happening over the weekend. Otherwise, moving on, we'll also touch on athletics. We understand there is a team that will be heading for the indoors championship. We'll also take a look at what does that mean preparing for the upcoming Commonwealth Games. Tekball, the sport that we never stop talking about. We'll talk about also something related to what they were doing over the weekend and where they are standing currently as a sport. I'll be joined later on by in-house analyst Linda Dlamini just to talk about also what was taking place over the weekend. The national championships for both sporting courts and Inter, the Premier League Day 17, where some of the clubs, your top clubs, were in action over the weekend. We look at how the results were, including the midweek fixture of Sundowns after that double lead made by Mike Dombo in that beautiful finish he made over the game against Green Mamba. Otherwise, the remaining 15 minutes or so will also give you a roundup of highlights of how the entire Day 17 went for the Premier League of Eswatini. Otherwise, do not move from your screen because it's going to be a beautiful show. I've got a special guest. It is his first time in the studio, but he's going to tell us a lot about the sport, about the family, and about also the competition. His name is Herman Jelly. He's the president of the Eswatini Swimming Association. Good evening, Mr. Jelly.
Good evening, Terrible. Good
Yes.
evening, viewers.
All right, he's from the dominating Jele family, the dominating Jele family in the sporting fraternity. When we talk about the dominating Jele family, I'm talking about your Maxwell Jele, the Eswatini Olympic Movement CEO. I'm talking about Derek Jele. I'm also talking about him as Herman Jele, the Swimming Association president. Jele, maybe just on a different note, on that note of the Jele families. I mean, it's quite amazing, and you know, just to see the three brothers in one, core of driving the sport. I don't know if I know you and Maxwell are brothers, but I don't know about Derek Chere, if you are really brothers or it's a family member. Just to explain how you all are involved in sporting activity.
Thank you for bringing. So Derek, in essence, is actually out of a family of 5 siblings. Is the firstborn in our family.
Yes.
He's our eldest brother.
Yes.
Second to Derek would then be myself. Maxwell comes third, and then we have 2 sisters, Lynette and Tracy.
So Maxwell is
He's the
younger
third.
than all of you.
Indeed, he is.
I thought you were the firstborn. When I looked at Derek, they also actually had a tournament last week at
Yes.
Lobamba, where the minister also paid a courtesy visit. And I thought, when I looked at him, I mean, he looked younger than you. He looked younger, almost. Maybe I could say, you know what? He probably is older than Maxwell Jele. But I thought you were the firstborn in the family.
No, in essence, his genes are very strong. Are very strong, but certainly is the firstborn in the
All
family.
right. So it's quite amazing to see how you guys are driving the sport. You've been the president of the association for I think almost a year now, over a year actually.
Correct. Yes.
Maybe just people are wondering, how is your career in the sport? Have you been at some point a swimmer? Have you at some point been also involved in swimming?
Yeah, I think Terrible. I think the key driving force is the desire to serve in
Yes.
sport. We come from a very, very strong background as sportsmen. Our father back then was also the president of the Junior Tennis Association in our junior days. And I think that in many ways cultivated a sense of, responsibility in terms of giving back. We competed very effectively as young sports people, young tennis players, and I think we did well during our era. But, as time has lapsed, life presents certain opportunities. It presents itself in certain challenges. And the challenge lay for me, and it was brought, to me through swimming, an opportunity to serve and to give back in sport. And that, without a doubt, I took that challenge on, and I felt a sense of responsibility to do so. And in all reality, the expectation is it would have been tennis, but, the big family that we are, we knew that the tennis side had already been covered.
True.
By Maxwell at that
Sorry
stage.
to cut you, but at some point you made headlines in tennis. I mean, during your early days, you're one of the top tennis players we had in the country.
Yes, we were. I think we held a very strong ranking in the region, both in SADC and in Africa. And up until a few years ago, we still maintained an ITF ranking, as noted tennis players. So,
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Now, that is a sense just to give you short information about the person we're talking about. He is not new into the sport fraternity. He knows the consistency that is required. He knows the drive and the passion that you need into the sport. Now, moving on into the business of the day, he held his first ever national championship over the weekend at Njabuleni School. Looking at the tournament that started on Tuesday, I mean, one would ask, what on earth? Just 5 days consecutively having the national championship. Why so many days? We know that most of the time it's Saturday, Sunday, the finals. We know the champions. As we can see the pictures, it was a beautiful day. But from Tuesday, what was happening, Mr. Chair?
So from Tuesday, what we did basically, and this typically happens during our nationals, is we look to get the longer distances done during the week. And the reason for that is we want to get those out of the way and allow our athletes to have sufficient rest leading up to the weekend where we have the really explosive races. So we want to ensure that our athletes can clock the best possible times by ensuring that early enough in the week they've gotten the longer races out of the way. And certainly we saw that at our nationals yet again, that these athletes managed to produce phenomenal results. We know a lot of personal bests were set. Athletes were just setting phenomenal times. We know that also our national records, quite a few of them were broken. And so this is the real purpose of it, is to give the athletes a fair opportunity to perform at their best, particularly on the critical 2 days of that weekend.
All right. You had a challenge last year due to COVID-19.
Yes, we did.
Being a sport that we know that was exposed to high risk. Would one want to say the level of competition, the standard that you noted over the weekend, is it where you want it to be? Is the sport improved? I mean, Smanga was there as our top swimmer, but he's not even amongst the people that made headlines. When I look at the records, your Luca Fraser, your other top athletes made the headlines. Is the sport where you want it to be as the president?
You know, Fabrice, it is such an amazing sense of excitement that we share with my executive. What we are seeing right now and the type of results that were shown by the athletes, this generation of athletes that is coming up, falls well within what we've put out as our strategic plan. For a while, we felt there was a bit of a gap between our top brass Manga's generation and the following generation. And we've worked as part of our strategic plan to begin to bridge that gap and furthermore to allow successful movement of groups thereafter. In fact, even as we speak right now, we have athletes at the age of 9 that are competing effectively within our galas. So we have a good set of athletes and a good lead moving up. And what we saw this weekend really certainly excited us. We saw impressive times set by this set of athletes. I do say, however, with Smanga, what he had suffered in the last 4 months was a shoulder injury. So he's been away from active or competitive swimming for the last 4 years, nursing that injury. So this was his first real gala or real race coming on there, and this is why we saw perhaps his performance not where it normally is. We have his usual times and we know what to expect from him, but I think he came into this particular nationals, you know, coming in quite carefully not to further injure himself or cause his injury to last any longer. Because remember, after this, we have our Kana Zone 4 championships, we have the Commonwealth coming through. So he's on a recovery plan, and we're very happy with the performance and the results that he put through. You know, there were a great sense of encouragement even to the athletes that come after him. So we still have great hopes for Smanga. We know for sure that as he continues to mend up, he will hit really the top level when we get to times like the Commonwealth Games time.
Your sport was involved, was mentioned as one of the sporting cause to be at the Commonwealth Game in Birmingham, coming July this year. Based on this performance we just saw over the weekend, the national championships, what is the platform for you? Do you see one or two athletes getting a chance to go to Birmingham?
Well, certainly. You know, again, we are dealing with a bit of an age issue. And we are trying to navigate these waters very, very carefully in terms of how we manage our team selection, who we are positioning strategically for things like the Commonwealth Games right now. And luckily for us, we are sitting with fairly good results. There's little room for improvement, but we are sitting with excellent results. At this point, we've run a short list with Yoga.
True.
And with that short list at Yoga, I think they will begin with our technical rep to assess the times, to assess the athlete development even in this time. They're going to further assess the training schedules and the kind of preparation tournaments that will happen in leading to the Commonwealth Games. And I think a decision at some stage, I think sometime towards May, will have to be made in terms of selection. Now, in the selection process, it will not be uniquely Eswatini Swimming Association, but it will rest with Yoga, who will play a very significant role in finally selecting the team that will travel.
Right.
But in terms of choice, we have put before them, I think, a very credible list of athletes and performances that we can be proud of.
All right. I'm looking at this beautiful cutaways of the pool, but I want to touch on that. I will touch on that. But maybe just to finishing up this conversation of your calendar of activities, I know when it gets into winter, that's when your calendar of activities is towards at the end. How is the schedule looking like before maybe we talk about the conclusion of the calendar?
Okay, so thanks, Fabrice. Right now, the Swazi National Championships typically mark the end of our competitive calendar locally.
True.
It culminates in that. What typically happens then is, for the winter season, it's considered our downtime. This is end of season, and the season starts again in August, September.
Sorry to cut you. Talked about age group. What age group are we talking about from the stage?
There we're talking 9, 10 years old.
All right.
Yeah, that is that nice batch of young swimmers that is slowly progressing through the ranks.
Yes.
So we are accounted from the age of 9 right up to the age of 16. We've got full accountability, a full good complement of athletes that will ensure that we have consistency in terms of delivering swimmers right through the ranks.
Okay. Beautiful stuff. Now, I'm impressed. At the age of 9, we've got swimmers. And then this is another group from Swim Lab, if I'm not mistaken, yes. Which age group are they involved in?
So this is our age group falling around the ages of 16 years old, 15, 16 years old in our ladies.
That's Luca Fraser in the middle.
That is Luca Fraser. That is the phenomenal Luca Fraser,
Yes.
who has broken back-to-back national records.
I mean, 800 meters freestyle, 11.23. That was outstanding.
This athlete has a very, very bright future. And certainly we've noted him as an executive. And we want to make sure that in collaboration with his club that he continues to train as hard as he is, that he remains as focused as an athlete, and that he's mentored to grow in a whole-rounded fashion as a fully balanced athlete. But we're excited about him and the prospects that lie for him.
All right. Yes, you're touching on your calendar 2022 as we look at some of the athletes and the remaining activities before maybe we go to the Commonwealth Games and we pass the Commonwealth Games. How is the calendar looking like? Yes.
Guys, our calendar now is on Sunday, the 20th of March. We will host the Level 0 Gala. So the Level 0 Gala will target all our Learn to Swim little swimmers that go on the Learn to Swim program. So these are the kids that are still very, very basic, but can now complete 25 meters. So this is, again, within our strategy and our vision is we want to begin to absorb them at that very, very young stage, where we know that once they can complete the 25 meter, we begin to absorb them officially into our structures. And they start going through our gala format. So we will be hosting them this weekend at Temidlalo, and I believe, from what I hear from my executive, is the attendance will be phenomenal. The amount of attendees or young athletes
looking to be part of the occasion.
Looking to be part of this is going to be something of note. So we're excited about that.
April, May, June, it's the July is the Commonwealth Games. August, you're quiet. You're back in September.
Yes, we are. Well, in August, if all should go well as well, we want to see if we can attend the Winter Champs in Mpumalanga. That is also a competition that is available to us. It's it's really your August, early September.
All right.
Yeah.
The biggest issue I want to touch on before you leave, we've had this issue prior to the administration, is the issue of facilities, the swimming pool. I mean, you held your national championship at the Eswatini school in Manzini. We know there is the Mavuso that at some point it was not, on, but now it's back. I don't want to touch on other facilities, but there's also the Sifunza facility, there's the UNESCO, the university. What's the current situation? Do you have any position right now to say this is a facility, whenever I want to use it, it's available? But there's also the challenge of some have to also put on their, how they want the facility to be used, recommendations and other things. What's the current situation when it comes to facilities?
Well, thank you, Fabrice. When it comes to facilities, honestly, we are quite blessed in terms of the amount of venues that we have access to as an association to use for the galas. I know that we've hosted a lot of them at Temidlalo Independent School, which has been, I think, one of the biggest reasons for that is it's a centralized location. The facility in itself is an excellent facility. And by virtue of being centralized, we have club representation coming out as far as Big Bend. We have a team that comes out of Eswatini. We've got Swim Lab that are coming from within the Manzini region. So it just seemed to make great sense for us right now to host it at Temidlalo.
Okay.
We do have access to Sifunza, and it's a matter of us speaking with them. We also have access to Mavuso, which right now we have an MOU signed. We are activating that pool. We have a development program. We have really exciting stuff happening there, even though unfortunately we cannot host a gala there. We also have UNESCO, the Sports Emporium, which is a first-grade facility. The only challenge we face right now, again, is the heating of the pools, which really is... It's a big part of it, because in the winter the guys cannot swim, the athletes cannot participate because it's cold. An athlete is allowed to be in the water, by FINA standards, the temperature should sit around 24 degrees for them to compete effectively or to train effectively. Anything beyond then becomes a health and safety issue. So we are currently even in a process with UNESCO where we have engaged them to maybe source a solution, to overcoming the issue of this winter period where the pools are too cold to use. And I'm confident that within the foreseeable future that we will get to a point where we agree together, on a solid way forward. And when that happens, that'll be excellent, because it will mean that now our season doesn't come to an end. Our season rolls right through, which will be an excellent plus for our athletes, which will be an excellent plus for our annualized program.
Wow. They have it. That will mean a lot for the Swimming Association. Thank you very much, Mr. Chele, for your time. I wish we had more time to talk about other things. I mean, recently you were awarding about 17 officials to help our swimmers can be safe in the water. We get time and just get more to talk about, and also open up and just give chance to some of the swimmers also to, put up and just bring in their suggestion. But for the interest of time, thank you for your, your presence, and we'll keep in touch to find out how things are happening with the association.
Thank you very much, Fabrice.
They have it. That was Herman Jere, the Eswatini Swimming Association president, just giving us some updates on how they are looking up to the year 2022 in terms of activities, in terms of how they are looking to wind up this year. Otherwise, a short break. When I come back, our in-house analyst in Mini will be here. He was at Enjabuleni over the weekend. He was there to take a close look on what was happening in the championship. He also went to Zimbabwe to look at also the boxing championship. He's going to give us more details. What did he see? What did he not? But to leave you, these are some of the actions, some of the reactions of the guests and the swimmers that took part of the championships over the weekend, including the Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga.
It feels
I can
nice.
talk for a day.
I'm keep on looking forward to breaking more records in the future.
To come to the end of our swimming season on such a high note, Guma Nationals ethu. We have seen our athletes to display some amazing times, a great effort and a great spirit of sportsmanship. A participation quality yale gala lena really was on another level, and as an association we are very encouraged because right now we're at the precipice of attending some key international events. So must witness such performances from our athletes. Nathi kusnika a sense of encouragement as an association and executive. Ukuthi ma athletes ethu la atawuhamba ayosirepresent emaveni ayabuya nema results really la commendable.
One item that stands out with this association is the very good development structures that we observe, culminating in the fact that in the recent Region 5 games in Lesotho, instead of sending the seasoned athletes for the under-20 games, they sent very young athletes, somewhere as young as 13-year-olds, which shows how serious they are with development. And this bodes well for the future, because it means that we are guaranteed of having top quality athletes even in future or upcoming tournaments. So that is another accolade that is worth giving to Swimming Association. We have also seen the sport doing well in terms of representing the country in the elite competitions of the world.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
still with you, of course, here at Eswatini TV, and I'm already in the company of our in-house analyst, Lindla Dlamini. Nguvusele sibali.
Ngiyavusela sibali wami Fabrice Simpson era the legend. Ngithoba kakhulu ngivusele wona ama-loyal viewers ekhaya. Inhlito yami Fabrice ishatiki. Ijabule kakhulu over the weekend. Nangibuka the two sporting courts. In fact, inqumbi ngendlela lababamba ngayo ama-national championships abo. Ngisho nje ukuthi kudos ku-swimming naku-boxing. Ngijabule kakhulu.
Bathi Master back on the President, Swimming Association, Mr. Jele. Let's not talk about much of swimming because he detailed, but let's talk about boxing. Minister visited both associations for the national championship. Master Sigup, in terms of Spaghetti, now in terms of talent and everything, so I could see we've had legends, Bo Webster, the current president. We've had Bo Chikluke, Bokitso Shong. So where are we now? The current national championship lo sharing a weekend.
Fabrice ukhumbula mhlambe nebabukeli batawukhumbula ukuthi the last time sibamba national championships aka boxing kwakum 2019. So about 19 20 21 umnyaka wesi-3 lo kungabanjwa national championships aka boxing ngenzaba ye COVID. But ithi tena ibuya Fabrice siyakhumbula ukuthi uthi president Webster Kele bafuna kubuyisela iboxer ebanvini. Lengicabanga ukuthi kwentekile over the past weekend eMzimba View lapha ezulwini bekupacked Fabrice kakhulu ngako ngithi inhlito yami ijabulile if batawuphuma bahambe bawubukela sibhakela if nabashayi besibhakela nabo batasikhombisa ngicabanga ukuthi bonke kuzogatha ukuthi after isikhathi lesithe kangaka bahleti bangawadlali ama-national championship ungabona i-level isedulu kangaka.
Khona labo winile on the day, performance was high, of course, in front of the guests, the minister and everyone. Baya kuphi because sesive ukuthi whoever that outshine in the competition baya kuma region 5 and everything labo winile la on the day. Where do they go? Stand to compete where and get what?
Laba winile Fabrice kuwina national championship this time around bothola iticket leya eZambia kunema games amazon 4 games leta base Zambia lengicabanga ukuthi le team leta uhamba leta ufaka ekhathi bozweli infa ekhathi in fact not bothabiso bebakhona on the day balwa na uyambona ukuthi experience yasebenta the way la vika ngayo the way la chepa ngayo the way lafuna kushaya ngayo ama ngicabanga ukuthi iyakhombisa ukuthi le international experience kukhona la kuxobongile kuma Olympics even though angendanga kahle but kunengila kufunzile so laba winile la baya eZambia.
Now, winding up maybe this conversation, mas now buka the boxing in terms of how long they took a break. Babuye with the bang because competition after competition. I think Shisenyama venue Lobam. It's one area singasho ukuthi babambisile kakhulu. Bo Tabiso siyathi ukuthi nazweli siyathi ukuthi the big stage is the Commonwealth. Do you think basitagele master na ubuka le competition?
Kakhulu Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi nale competition lebanikwe ngilala ama boxers ikhombisile lokuthi in fact lo mdlalo weboxing usetandleni ethi kahle kusuka etulu ku president executive yakhe because if utawubamba event le kanje successfully akusiko lula and luckily na minister wama sports wafika watohlomelisa including na executive yakhe labanabo office na sports council bekakhona chairman na yoga bekakhona president wakhona so ngicabanga ukuthi bonke labamvu labo babona le ndlela lesibhakela lesikhula ngayo solo afikile Webster office beku championship ecala lo but lama tournaments lawabamba njengoba usho ukuthi somhlolo shisa nya babamba almost every month ngicabanga ukuthi lesibhakela siyakhula kakhulu.
Quick one master 2006 best ever boxer in the recent generation, not all time, recent generation, Mr. Shiba. Can we produce another one? Naubuga from this youngsters.
Kakhulu Fabrice, in fact not one, about 3. Njoba ngisho ukuthi I'm happy lendlela lesibhakela lesiya kuso so ngicabanga ukuthi in the next year or so kukhona info Eswatini even better than Tabiso boxer lotawuphuma la Eswatini.
All right, in the company of the Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga, and other boxers on the day, what did they have to say about the national championships?
Anganginiketi konke kwami bengite isikhathi sekujima. I only trained for 2 days, so I'm not satisfied. Yebo ngiwinile, but I wish I could do better than this.
I know lengakusho ukuthi amabhoksi asimisele kakhulu aphume all out because kunebantu nathi besade ukuthi lana ngeke ngize ngistruggle noma ngingastruggle but uyababona lokuthi bayakumisela na ungabona namhla ifinal maningi lama teams la khona kuma finals kusho kona ukuthi standard si high and amabhoksi asimisela kakhulu.
Sijabule kakhulu i-event iphumelele kakhulu shothi event sicale itolo lapho bekungema elimination khona nyalo njengalokubona kugcwele kakhulu and hey i-competition ehigh kakhulu bowubukela ke yona bow-witness ukuthi lo winile la naye uwine ngemargin lencane labo labathole ama-knockout kumbe munye noma babili lengingakusho nje ema-champions lesinawo cishe siyathemba ukuthi asezingeni lelisetulu because ema-competition besiba nawo nawe again siyabhiliva lokuthi mabayomela live njengaloku sikhuluma nje siya kuma-region 4 eZambia very soon I think in the next month labatawumelela live because nakhona sisatawucunga kula ma-champions ethu sibuke labo labasezingeni kumbe leli tawukhona kufike likhompithe kahle akusho ngoba soyi-champion vele automatically ihamba.
Inhlanganise umsebenzi wabamuhle kangaka akusilula ku-organize i-tournament ihambe smooth bantu bajabule sibukele ama-bout lamahle kakhulu la kwakhompithwa nathi lebe sibukela sa-entertaineka so siyakubongela president kuloko nelibandla lakho abakushayele tandla. Phindze ngithathe leli thuba kokubongela president ngokuthi ungilesinye sema sports lambalwa lasavela i-embrace lenkulumo yokuthi bomake asibanike lithuba lelilinganako nabo babe kutemidlalo. Women participation in sport siyipromote kakhulu. I-boxing ke seyingenye lethamba embili. Bomake siyababona nabo sebashaya sibhakela kanti sijwayele ukuthi ngomdlalo wabo baba sibukele ibout lemnanzi la labantwana lesibabukele batshengisa nje potential lenkhulu lesicabanga ukuthi ngekuhamba kwesikhathi batawuphuma bayolimelela live sibe nelithemba lelikhulu ngetindondo.
Beautiful reactions from the authorities, of course, in charge of the boxing and the Minister for Sports and other athletes. Master, quick one, another sporting court, athletics. We get information that they are going to the indoor championship. Information also tells us that this is a team that is promising to do well in those competitions. What do you have for us?
Fabrice Stakhumbula ukuthi about 3 weeks ago or a month ago lapha emavuso kwaba nema qualifiers ema-indoors lama games lawo ase-Serbia so ngije mntakuleli le betadlala kahle kulawo ma-games lawo khona le so ngicabanga ukuthi Fabrice kutshengisa kona lokuthi ngala kulama sports if asekeleke kahle kuyakhombisa lokuthi le level iyakuphi so ngicabanga ukuthi labantu awuhamba bawosimelela khona le eSerbia batasimelela kahle bathola itikhathi leti kahle.
All right. Tech ball, another sporting code we never stop talking about because of their busy schedule of activities, Master. When you talk about refereeing, it's another department cool under the Tech Ball Federation.
Yes, Fabrice, i-Tech Ball kunabo Rafaela labang-2 balakhaya labase France lokusikhuluma labahambe bayoljaja imidlalo ema World Tech Ball Indoor Games France. So ngicabanga ukuthi it's huge. It's huge. Lo ngakubuka akuthathele phasi ngicabanga ukuthi it's huge Fabrice ukuthi a referee angahamba ujaja at international level wala ekhaya. So ngicabanga ukuthi it's a big thing nokwazi Dlamini naNkosingivile Magongo. They are doing very well sababona even na National Challenger Series. Yes, nakulama club games. Ngicabanga ukuthi njoba ngisho le level iyakhula and nangala ka Tech Ball yabona officiating iyakhula badlali players 2 players were supposed to go World Cup last year. Yeah, so ngicabanga ukuthi the sport siyakhula kakhulu.
All right, that also recommends your hard work for your office as the technical director of the association, Mr. Linda Dlamini, also known as Master. Now, moving on, Master, you had a busy weekend because you were at St. Joseph, where there was a launch for the wheelchair tennis, Master. Lesingasho ukuthi le sport lesingasho ukuthi lisekela kakhulu abantu labakhubathekile, wheelchair tennis. What do you have for us, Master? Beyakhona Luis Nxumalo, the representative from Tennis Association, but your observation, Master, over the weekend.
Yes, inhlangano yemidlalo yemphebedo lapha ekhaya Fabrice i-Tennis Association i-receive ama-wheelchair from i-ITF lokuyinhlangano lengamela umdlalo we-tennis emhlabeni ukuthi ba-promote le sport yona i-wheelchair tennis. So ihambile ke i-Tennis Association ihamba ya St. Joseph's eMzimpofu yafundisa labamva abahlala lapha noma labahlala lapha kule village ngomdlalo we-wheelchair tennis. Ngicabanga ukuthi imukeleke kahle and uyabona ukuthi even naye Masiza lo coach eNtshangase uyambona ukuthi le ndlela labafundisa ngayo lendvu uyayadi and nalama athletes labadlali bale tennis labafuna ukudlala le tennis ngale ndlela labayimukela ngayo. So ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona lapho singasho ukuthi ku Tennis Association kudos because vele sikhuluma ngeequity, sikhuluma ngokuthi wonke umdlali lo phila ngekho. In fact sonke sport kumele sidlalwe nguwonke umuntu, isida ukhubatekile noma we are able uyazidlala sport ungancabelwa. So ngicabanga ukuthi info lenhle lena singayinika nayo i-credit i-Tennis Association.
All right, talk about people living with disabilities. So we've got 3 so far association under the disability movement that are active: wheelchair basketball, and talk about wheelchair tennis, and talk about volleyball, sitting volleyball. So Paratech.
Yes.
So it's a chance for us to go internationally, Master. All right.
Noma kanjani Fabrice, in fact ama-Paralympics kulomnyaka lotako sikhathile njoba asho lubuke yona le midlalo emthine kuthi want ema representatives latawusuka la ekhaya ahambe ayema Paralympics games.
All right. Now, down at St. Joseph, Dlamini was there. What do they have to say? Players, representatives from the association, and different guests who were there on the day about the launch of the wheelchair tennis in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Akusiko lukhuni kimi ngasho njalo because ngidlala i-basketball, so kulula kimi ngokuthi I'm used to kusebenzisa le wheelchair, and ngekubuka kwami kulisito lokukhulu elikhulu lokuthi kube nalenye igame letawukhona ukuthi abantu labakhubatekile babenefite kuyo, kungabi ngile wheelchair basketball kuphela. Sibonga kakhulu nje ukuthi kube nale tennis because khona labatawukhona kudlala, nami maybe ngidawukhona.
Empeleni kukhona kude sine nje into la khona kukhanza ukuthi sisebenzisa khona imikhono netandla, hayi sisikhanze sishelela udzinga nje isikhathi kuphela ukuthi utinikete sona, then it will be perfect.
Total response lenhle bahle abantu banangi bathi misele uyabona kune enthusiasm lebafuna ukuthi bafuna ukutoyidlala, even not without the wheelchairs labanye bafuna vele ukudlala tennis, which is ngicama is an assignment ukuthi kumele sibuye phinde futhi to introduce kulaba labanye ke labangahambi ngama wheelchairs.
Kakhulu nge-ITF njengoba ngisho nje ukuthi they want to see sport tennis iba inclusive. Njengoba ubona njena even in international tournaments khona labasuka bayocompete khona just specifically for wheelchair. So it has been always in our programs ukuthi sifisa ukuthi nathi kangwane si-introduce wheelchair tennis, and ITF has been kind to us ku plan yethu wasidonatela lama wheelchairs, waphinda wasupporta nokusendela ema-workshops for the coaches that we are having. We are still expect ukuthi ama-coaches sibakhulise so that singacoverisha various regions ngoba lama wheelchairs sifuna kwa spread around so that everybody abe accessible kubo bonke abantu labafuna.
All right, there was only one fixture, midweek fixture on the calendar of the MTN Premier League when at Mavuso Sports Center, Manzini Sundowns, Denver Sundowns, I should say so, hosted Green Mamba. Master, have they had a rough season when you talk about Denver Sundowns?
Fabrice ngicabanga for iSundowns ukuthola le result lena against Green Mamba, more especially Dombo, kuthola 2 goals. Is proving once again ukuthi is that quality player. Lo tsinga nje ukuthi abe sefomini. Utholile 2 goals wayiwinisa iDenver Sundowns. Siyakhumbula ukuthi iDenver Sundowns second round ayikayiqali kahle simanga it was his last game because namhla kuphuma statement ukuthi uyakuthaba nguluKhelis akasa ku Denver Sundowns. Ngicabanga ukuthi a good result for iDenver Sundowns. Because balus against Malandi Chiefs the other week. So Ngamansi this game a double booster spirit.
When you look at the likes of Leopard and Highlander, they are above 30 something. Top goaler.
Oh man.
Top goaler.
Man.
It's
It's
a top goal.
Yeah, top goal. Top goal.
Top goal, yes.
Yeah.
Mamas, I think is he, one would say, does he need to work on his quality? I think he's forgotten sometimes.
No,
he has days.
Consistency.
Yeah. Showing consistency.
Otherwise, he's a good player.
Is this one of the goal of the month?
Fortunately, Eswatini TV, I know what's at the end of the season. Stawafak.
Master, there are 19 points now in 17 games. Is Sundowns where they're supposed to be? I think, if I remember they well on the table, they are 12th or 13th. Are they where they're supposed to be?
No. In Nobuga Sundowns, in a rich history, they deserve to be at least number 4, number 5. So this season maybe, they have some young players next season, but they'll compete.
All right. They have it. Thank you very much, Dlamini, for being here. And let's hope you have a beautiful weekend. They have it. And that to let you know that M10 Premier League is taking a short break for 2 weeks to allow Sihlang Semnigati to take part of the AFCON 2023 qualifiers against Somalia in Tanzania this coming Wednesday and on Sunday, respectively. Otherwise, to leave you, we leave you some of the highlights that highlighted day 17 of the M10 Premier League. And just to give you some of the best scores. Otherwise, for me, Linda Dlamini, the entire crew, the producer, technician, soundman, transport, and everyone, Silhlala kamnanzi.
Babane Highlanders recorded a 3-0 win over Tambuti, sinking them further into the relegation zone. Manzini Sibet missed out on a chance to return to the top 5 after conceding a late goal against Pirates. Babane Swallows, who can't afford any slip-ups at this point, were in search of maximum points when they travelled to the Mavuso Sports Centre to face relegation-threatened Dinyosi on Saturday. In the absence of Sandile Drago, who was out celebrating his birthday, Hlanhla Ngwenya was given a run. Hounded by injuries, interim coach Musa Manyati has been forced to try different player combinations with Sfiso Mabila out injured. Dinyosi, who have their calculators out already, know that every point counts and they cannot count on anyone except themselves if they are to see Premier League football next season. The host paraded their 2 new internationals, Riziki Hamisi from Tanzania and Kevin Debele from Zimbabwe on the day. Dinyosi were the quickest of the block and Muhle Dlamini almost capitalized from a defense error, Gininza stretching himself wide enough to keep it out. Close call for Swallows. Spila Dlamini had to be stretched off after sustaining a head injury. Felix Badenhorst came close to getting an opener, his header off target. Swallows continued with their dominance and were getting better chances compared to their opponents. After a couple of missed chances at close range, the Birds switched things up with long-range balls. That didn't yield any positives as the match was goalless at halftime. With Plan A failing to yield any positives, it was time for Plan B. Manyati introduced TT Tabete, who was out in South Africa, attending a UEFA Assist and COSAFA Career Transition Program alongside Fela. Swallows were toying with danger at the back, Dinyosi failing to capitalize on that. Dinyosi almost got the better of Sandile Gininza with a well-executed glass shot. James Nguluve came close to opening things up for Swallows, his shot just off the target. As the saying goes, experience is the best teacher. Titi's shot ruffling the crossbar. Gwenya following up to squeeze it home. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Swallows held on to take all 3 points.
It's a project. It's 3 points. We have to collect 3 points. Because it's a repeat game. As much as we're doing, you see the way we're sending a corner, we're sending fighting spirit. Then it's a thing they say corner about Swallows. Lama point is wathola kanjalo. Sitawagrinda so lama point because now last 30 corner asikahlali kahle, but I'm happy because tomorrow sikhuluma namhla ebusuku Swallows in number 3. Last funa corner sigela number 3. We're okay. We still got 3 points sigela number 3. We're okay right now.
Kube kabi kona, but ke they are the senior team. Ngilabe sisokwehluka khona le quality because I felt like we created better chances. Bona they created just 1 or 2 and they made use of one of them. That is how we lost. After all on the game, we kubalwa lama goal. So ngilapho la bese le better quality sita khona. But yeah, I'm proud of my boys. Fighting and holding Babane Swallows. He came all the way kuze kuyofika le kubo 87 and so. They did well. We'll take it from there.
Struggling Manzini Wanderers were out to end their 7-game winless streak when they hosted Bobejane in a Saturday afternoon encounter at the Mafuso Sports Center. With a new coach at helm, Liweseli were hoping for a better luck in results that would see them move from the 9th spot, a zone that's not far off the relegation zone. Sihle Mkhonda and Pepelo Mapanga were given a run, their first of the season with Wanderers. Tsebankulu Kellis, who are having their best run since their promotion to top-flight football, were eyeing a top-5 entry. Bobejane have had a stellar run so far, having recorded wins against defending champions Royal Leopard and Babane Swallows, showing how tricky they can be on a good day. The visitors circled quick and were on attack in the opening stages of the match and were well rewarded through Nelly Somieni in the 7th minute. Questionable defending from Wanderers, great team goal for Kellis. Ntunzi Mota came close to levelling matters, but his attempt way off the target. Wanderers were not slowing down, throwing all they can up front. Patizo Mabuza's shot saved by Nganawe Dladla, who was well positioned. Kallis were whipping in great balls from set pieces positions, which were proving hard to contain for the host. Lokutalago utophiwa longongothako uyovulelwa, and that was evident a couple of minutes later. Wanderers were not to be denied, Mabuza pouncing home in the 45th minute. That's how the half will end, with a 1-1 scoreline. At the restart of the second half, Wanderers were in search of a quick goal. Neliswa Dlamini's attempt not threatening at all. Dladla was called to action soon after. His flexes enough to punch the ball out of danger. Wanderers almost had a moment of brilliance, courtesy of Fabrice Mopina. Dladla kept the visitors at bay, securing them a point. A crucial point for Sfiso Nurantibane and the boys away from home. The journey continues for Coach Velekaya with his first point in charge.
A tough game. We were physical. We started slow and we conceded, but we managed, which is Sibuye, equalize. I think we have to work on composure going forward, and my transitions that we are not quick enough going forward. Must say winning the ball, but we process very
important point away against Manzini Wanderers, and critical moments of the game caught us today.
We were leading 1-0 last 2 minutes to half time. So lose the concentration by Spanish and Namagashi second ball. Otherwise, basic plan 11, we knew they are at home, it's away. We're a small team, we had to contain them and get them on the counter. That is why now even second half. First half, Nasayoshinja, see lose the concentration, Sabaniga more room make, but win my second ball. But now we are second half, Saglung is a logo, because our strikers will count out the gap between the lines. So our strikers and the make. Then some rectify a logo, Sakona back combat and best breaker on the counter. And they couldn't create any chance because they were solid. Instead, they made a basic threat to the counter.
Ihlangana fans were on Sunday treated to a Manzini derby, pitting Manzini Seabeds and Moneni Pirates at the King Sopoza II Memorial Stadium. Not so orthodox, proving how tricky this encounter will be for both teams. Seabeds, who started the season like a house on fire, are soon learning how hard life can be at the top. They do say the higher you go, the colder it becomes. Choko's experience came in handy, forcing a save from Bexisa Lamini. Pirates Xolani Ngwenya should have done better from a set-piece position. Seabeds Jabulani Mabuza was called to the rescue after a superb run from Allen Mabuza. Soon after, Seabeds were awarded a penalty after Elwazi Mamba's foul on Xolani Sbanze. Choko stepped up, but his first kick was saved by the keeper. However, his follow-up was not to be denied. 1-0 to Union Zolwandle, taking a much-needed lead to half-time. Pirates were threatening at the restart of the second half. Begumuzi Mamba came close to extending Seabeds' lead, but it wasn't to be. Just like a ticking time bomb, time was of essence for Pirates, throwing everything up front in search of an equalizer. Mabuza failed to capitalize on Mpendulo Thomas' cross. Pirates were throwing numbers up front in search of an equalizer. Mabuza was not having the best day, missing out on yet another chance. Seabeds were not slowing down in a bid to put the match beyond Pirates' reach. Pirates were handed a lifeline with the referee pointing to the spot. Meshaglu Shaba made it count for Pirates in the closing stages of the match. A crucial point for Pirates.
In a game of football, we create my chances. Kufuna wa 70s, now our 70s, they will get one chance and punish you. Tawubona setawuhlala phasi sibuke ukuthi nguphi la singalungisa khona looking at lama injuries la sakhona nya. But nje we have a very good.
I think the fans got what they deserve today. I think even the 1-1 result, I think it's a fair outcome. It was a very close game. The only thing that could have decided this game was set pieces like the penalty. But I'm happy for my boys. They played very well today. It's just that getting a point is so important for us, and it was starting to get me worried that what is happening. But you know what, these boys, they fought very well today. We played.
It was an issue of North versus South in the MTN Premier League when bottom of the lock Rangers hosted Young Buffaloes in an early encounter at the King Sopoza II Memorial Stadium. With the odds highly against them, Rangers were hoping the underdog status will help them fly undetected under the radar. Young Buffaloes were first on the scoring board, courtesy of Sandile Kamete. Mbongo Matsebula almost scored a second goal a couple of minutes later, but his shot wide off target. It was a one-way traffic with Rangers defense clearly feeling the heat. Mpendule Dlamini's first touch a letdown, missing out on a golden opportunity to extend Buffalo's lead. Phumlani Ngobese was called to the rescue deep into the half after a defensive error at the back that almost gifted Rangers their first of the match. The hosts were growing in confidence as Pamandla Mabuza blasting it through defense. Minutes later, Mduduzi Ngomezulu's slight touch proved vital to keep out Lindom Konda's power shot from a free kick position. Young Buffalo's keeper Ngobese produced a good save after a heated attempt from Sibonelelo Mhlanga. Rangers continued testing the keeper from a distance. Rangers continued pushing for an equalizer. Mncedisi Mhlanga attempt tipped over by the keeper. Gwaketfala came to Buff's rescue in the closing stages of the half, clearing it off the line. Mazibuko brought some life into the match, netting Buffalo's second of the match. Mazibuko was not done as of yet, netting his second, Buff's third on the day, 3-0 to Amatole Ezinyati. Rangers had a lot of catching up to do, but a goal was not forthcoming. Lindelwa Dlamini should have done better. His shot wide of the target. A relapse in concentration proved too costly for the host, Ali Mate, benefiting from a goalkeeping error, squeezing it home. That's how the match will end, 4-0 in favor of Amatole.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ikhambe kahle because lebe sikufisile ukuthi nalebe sikulungisela kuma sessions ethu ukuthi sithole early goal because sidlala away, so kusebenzele because 8 minutes bese silitholile. Ngicabanga ukuthi sibonile ibiya ngemandla i-Rangers but akhona kuyi-containers ngoba yina ngethu kufanele siba contain. But singaba container bese siyakhona bavula nabadlala bona kuvuleka lama breaks ngikhona bese sibathola khona.
Can't lie and I'm happy. Ngalesinye isikhathi kube khona nabo ukuthi ujabule na udliwa because of the category alama teams. We have lost to a big team and a better team, but the boys, they've played very well. First half, we did exactly the basic planning to finish your win. Ukuthi iBuffaloes basebenzisa ipower play as much as basakufuna lokudlala le ball, so thina sihambeni siyodlala le ball, and we did that in first half. But then second half, that again early goal elingenele seliyaba demoralizer base bayihluleka kupick their spirit up. Otherwise, I'm happy about the performance and it gives me ukuthi kukhona la khona sitawuqhuma siye khona.
A confirmation of your results. Bafana Highlanders recorded a 3-0 win over Tambuti, sinking them further into the relegation zone. Manzini Sibet missed out on a chance to return to the top 5 after conceding a late goal against Pirates.
Better health, better life. Another season with fresh discussions.
Ngetindzaba letibalulekile tetemphilo la ekhaya Eswatini lokunukelela esheleni nokuphila masangana.
To learn from our health professionals.
Psychosocial support group for mothers who are going through the journey of motherhood for all mothers.
Mnanzi kuphila ube intombi yakeni bebasifusa nje esontweni ube jaha lakeni abujaha and knowing that I'm a young man.
Angeke ufithe la groupini ungabhemi. So vele directly tawufuna nami ngibhemi kanti bengingakufuni lokubhema.
Coming to you every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. here on Eswatini TV. Better health, better life. Your gateway to a healthy living.
%40 of female parliamentarians in Africa have experienced sexual harassment and 23% have endured physical violence. According to a report in 2021 by the Interparliamentary Union and the African Parliamentary Union, there is widespread sexism and violence against women in most African parliaments. In this week's episode, we ask, what should be done to end violence targeting women in politics? Welcome to the She Word for real talk on stories connecting today's African women. I am Grace Kuria.